It's 2:06. I'd like to start by asking the commission members to consider adopting a resolution to have me serve for today's meeting as the temporary non-voting chair to conduct the meeting. Could I have a motion?
I'm sorry, Judy on the motion. I like to do this to Judy just because she's learning. As the interim director, I like to throw a curveball right at the beginning of each meeting. Throw off her steps. Why don't we make this motion continuing until otherwise there's someone appointed as a fifth member, rather than having Judy do this each meeting?
Can I just say something?
Yes,
Yeah.
Supervisor.
This motion, could we pledge the flag, which we're supposed to do at the start of each meeting?
Okay, I guess I was doing that out of the order. We can start with the Pledge of Allegiance and then move forward to the other part. And I will do that from now on.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag.
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So the question is whether the motion would be for me to serve as the temporary non-voting chair until such time that we receive a governor's representative or some other commission member chooses to serve in that position. Do you want to move forward in that way, or do you want to still consider this at each meeting?
If I may,
Sure.
I'll support either resolution. However, I want to make it known from this point on that as a commission member, I don't know if the other commission members want to join me, but I'm going to correspond with the governor because it's outrageous that 6 months after his representative left for another assignment, the governor has not seen fit to appoint another representative to this board. We as board members should be asking the governor now, it's more than 6 months, that be replaced, that he has a representative on this board. If this commission is to be taken seriously by the governor, he should have his representative here. They should be chairing this meeting. It is becoming embarrassing for the governor not to do so. And I, as a commission member, I'm going to raise that issue loud and clear that the governor needs to appoint his representative sooner than later. But I have no problem voting for Judy to either each meeting or from this point on until the governor finally wakes up and appoints someone to represent his office.
I'll second the motion to appoint Judy from here on till the governor appoints a representative. Thank you.
Any opposed? Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. The motion passed with 4-0 vote. Okay. I'd like to perform a roll call of the members present. Tanner Brookhaven.
Present.
Supervisor Romaine. Tanner
I
Southampton.
also have Emily Pines. I'm going to have to leave this meeting a little early. She's my representative and she's fully powered to do whatever has to be done.
Okay. Supervisor Romaine and Emily Pines. Tanner Southampton.
Present and representing Supervisor Jay Schneiderman until he enters the meeting.
Tanner Riverhead. Dan? Did we lose Dan McCormick?
Yes, you did. By the appearances of things, yes.
Oh, boy. We still have 3.
We don't have a quorum to do business, but you could go to the information items. And your resolution, we'll vote on it when Dan comes back.
I'm
So
sorry, I
that'd be
didn't,
my suggestion.
yeah, I didn't see that he was missing from the screen.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
why don't you do your report outs?
that makes sense. We'll skip to item 2, Science and Stewardship. Actually, the Education and Outreach Division, you received a copy of Melissa Peratt's report in your e-packet. She was unable to be present today because she's attending to some programs that prevented her from being here. The next report out would be from Science and Stewardship Division under item 2B from Polly Wiegand. Ms.
Judy,
Wiegand.
I saw that Dan just came back in.
Yes, I saw it.
Okay, so good afternoon, commissioners, members. I have a lot to report. We've been very successful and very ambitious and active this spring with our prescribed fire program and our overall science and stewardship program. So I'll just cover some of the highlights in our report. As far as administrative, we had been approached by the U.S. Forest Service out of New Hampshire about a research project that they wanted to engage us in, looking at the impacts of pine regeneration post southern pine beetle impact, and whether examining which type of management it would be most successful for ensuring the recruitment of pines. And we collaborated with the University of Vermont, and we're informed that University of Vermont actually is carrying the contract, but we're a partnering agency with In-Kind Services who was awarded that contract. We ranked one of the top 5 in the nation and the number 1 in the Northeast for our proposal. And so that's going to be funded and will start in the next year. And it will be a 2-year study on looking at prescribed fire, mechanical treatments, restoration plannings, and the control would be what the current condition is as far as whether pitch pine is recruiting post southern pine beetle in our forest. So we're very excited about ranking so high and getting awarded that funding to do that really important study. Broderick DeAngelis, our ecological field specialist, left us last month to take a job on the coast of Oregon in a yurt, being a botanical tech. So he scored big and getting himself a full-time job. So we're very happy for him. And we have interviewed, and the Suffolk County Water Authority Board approved the hiring of Sabrina Cohen, who was our intern for our forest health inventory internship last summer. So we're happy to have her being onboarded this month, and she will pick up doing spotted lanternfly surveys and southern pine beetle and get trained on prescribed fire. So it's an asset that she was an intern in the past, so she'll roll right into our programming here. We'll have a Protected Lands Council meeting on June 3rd. So if you're interested in participating and you didn't get an invitation, please reach out to Sean and we can send you the information. It's a 2-hour meeting. It's fully packed of information related to all things Pine Barren, as far as updates on research and activities that we're doing to help collaborate and coordinate and increase awareness amongst the nonprofits and agencies that are helping to manage the Pine Barrens. So for prescribed fire, we did a public education campaign press release related to the release and finalization of the comprehensive prescribed fire management plan, and also the prescribed fire operations that DC is leading and that we participated in. And thanks especially to Tim Motes, our public information officer, we were able to secure a Newsday video that was released this week. WSHU with NPR did a radio segment. The Suffolk County Times and the East End Beacon both did in-press write-ups, and they were all very accurate and very well done. And so I wanted to recognize Tim and Judy, especially for their efforts in helping to get information, our first press release on the fire program and the plan out there to the public. And in that capacity, we've also been developing our educational materials. Let me just share my screen here. Let's see. All right. So we've developed a new Facebook page. So if you're on Facebook and would like to be informed of prescribed fire operations in the Pine Barrens, please like this page. It's CPBC Fire is the handle to get to that page. And if you like it, then you'll get these updates. You can see here we have posted the Newsday video. That here is Brian Gallagher. He's the burn boss on the fire that we were doing at the demonstration forest. So this will be used to help inform the public of operations and help increase awareness of the importance of prescribed fire. And then we also have created a prescribed fire management page on our website. So you have the program overview, and then a number of information, including notifications when prescribed fires will be occurring. But thanks to Tim and Melissa, Tim Motes and Melissa Peratt and Sean Ziegler, they also developed this video. It's a 2-minute video on prescribed fire to help increase the awareness of prescribed fire operations and the importance in the Central Pine Barrens.
So Polly, I'm sorry to interject, but
Sure.
I believe I heard you say you're going to share a screen.
Oh, it's not sharing?
No.
It's not sharing.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me go back.
Ah,
Thank you.
That's better.
Thank
There
you,
you go.
Dorian. All right, here. So here's our Facebook page for the prescribed fire program. And then here's our fire management website on the commission website. So it's under our work and prescribed fire management program. And it has the plan as its own little tab and section. So you can go and get a copy of it if you'd like some light reading. And it also has the video that was produced, the 2-minute video, which you can watch it another time, but it's very well done as a short clip. And then the other thing that I wanted to feature was the success of our spring fire program. We don't have our insurance yet. We're hoping that you'll approve that insurance policy at this meeting. So we participated this spring in 6 different prescribed fire days with DEC on 8 different units. So a couple days we did more than 1 unit per operation, which resulted in over 200 acres of prescribed fire on the ground, including getting the Demo Forest 2 burned as part of a U.S. Forest Service demonstration study that DEC has, and also burning 190 grassland acres, many of which were burned to help facilitate both these prescribed fire operations by reducing adjacent fuel, but also to facilitate the use of the wildfire drill zone, which Bob Panko, our fire management specialist, conceived is a way to get wildfire tasks checked off on our staff's task books to especially Sean Ziegler, to get him a squad boss and then move him forward in becoming a burn boss. So some of these pictures are provided in the report, but just exemplifies different operations that we were participating in this spring. This is a particular Happy Jade as she's incinerating the invasive miscanthus in the grassland. So we'll continue on with conducting southern pine beetle surveys this spring, as well as oak wilt. We're completing an early detection non-native bark and ambrosia beetle survey that concludes at the end of this month. And we continue to work directly with the Attorney General's office on a case. We provided all of the documents necessary for discovery associated with that case. And hopefully we'll have a hearing this week, and we'll see how that goes. So we've been very busy with invasive species management related to encroachments as well. So we're definitely keeping busy. Does anyone have any questions on the report? Okay, great, thank you.
okay, so let's skip back to, let me make sure. Let's skip back to the motion. Dan, I wasn't sure if you were here when we made the motion to adopt, excuse me. I don't think you were here when we made the motion for me to serve as non-voting temporary chair until such time New York State provides another member or some other board member chooses to serve as chair for the commission. Were you present during that vote?
I was not, Judy.
Okay,
Sorry, I got disconnected. I will vote in the affirmative on that.
okay, and I apologize, I didn't notice that you were missing.
No,
So,
no worries at all. Thank you, Judy. Riverhead votes to approve.
okay, so that motion did pass 4-0. And then, okay, and we did the roll call vote, so I'll add Dan McCormick as representing Town of Riverhead.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we'll go down to item 1C, the draft resolution to approve the purchase of prescribed fire insurance from Access Surplus Insurance Company. You should have received a draft resolution in the e-packet to review. We worked through the Suffolk County Water Authority Risk Management Division, who had put out a number of quotes to various insurance companies to request quotes to come back on prescribed fire insurance. We only received one response, and that was from Access Insurance through Hometown Insurance is the broker. And the insurance is for the prescribed fire liability insurance that we're required to have as part of our contract with New York DEC for the prescribed fire management program. And it's also, once we have this in place, we can also start procuring the necessary equipment for the prescribed fire program as well. The cost will be $45,456.12. We will be trying to pursue other options in August, perhaps when the rest of the commission's insurance policies are up for renewal, to see if we can maybe get a better price for the insurance if we are able to combine all the insurance policies together and see if we can try to do that. But in the meantime, we need to have this insurance in place because there is no guarantee that will happen in August. I would like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution to purchase the prescribed fire insurance.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor, please raise.
Aye.
Okay.
Riverhead approves.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Okay. The motion passed 4-0 vote. Okay. So the next item, we had done, Dan, we had done the report out on the, under Science and Stewardship for Education and Outreach, and you received that report in your packet. Melissa's not here today, and you may have caught the tail end of Polly's report out on Science and Stewardship. We move on. Excuse me, I did skip over minutes. That's what happens when you take things out of order. So we will go back now to 1A, to 1B minutes for the April 21st commission meeting. And I need, does any of the commission members have any corrections on those minutes?
Judy, Riverhead abstains. I wasn't present at that meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So 3 in favor and 1 abstention. The motion passes 3-0, 3-1. We will now go down to item 3A under Planning, Land Use, and the Pine Barrens Credit Program. the Compliance and Enforcement Division update that'll be provided by Tim Huss. Tim? See if he's here.
Okay. Am I
Oh,
unmuted?
you are, yes,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
that's okay.
Okay. So, we're up to about 21 complaints to date. A lot of dumping complaints, as you're probably well aware. We did try to get one press release out because in the month of April and May, with the help of the LEC, the Law Enforcement Council, we recovered over $12,000 in penalties for the illegal dumping, which we thought was significant. The press release wasn't picked up, unfortunately. Tim Motes did a great job with it. I assume it's because we had a couple of them in Newsday late this winter, in February and March. So maybe the story's getting old, but we like to get the word out there as a deterrent. But we will continue to work to deter that activity, which I know is important to all of you. We continue to meet with our partners in enforcement, and we hope to resume in-person meetings again with some of our town enforcement partners, like we were doing pre-COVID. So I'll be talking to Luke about that for one, and get together with the code enforcement people in Southampton and Riverhead as well. Our drone training was able to resume. We were kind of on a hiatus again because of COVID. Lieutenant Carbone from the DEC is a statewide trainer. It's been extremely helpful. And one of our officers, Jim Mazzio, was successful in passing his FAA 107 drone license course. Not an easy task. So we have 4 licensed pilots here now: Polly, Sean, myself, and Jim. But quite honestly, we're still honing our skills so we don't crash into our prescribed fire folks as they're doing their thing. We hope to get some nice video of that in the near future. So that continues. And, that's about it, unless anybody has any questions for us.
I just would make you aware that at the end of 2024, Brookhaven landfill will no longer take construction demolition debris. So you can imagine what's going to happen.
Yes, we're well aware. Thanks to you'll continue to remind us. So we're concerned about that as well.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay, we'll move on to the update from the Land Use Division provided by Julie Hargrave.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Okay, so you have my report, and just to briefly go through it, the Kogel core hardship that's on today to be withdrawn. The state has acquired that property for reported $209,000.
Devin, you ready?
And so that was a core hardship, and that's being withdrawn. The other items on include the Sunrise Wind project, which we've been contacted by the applicant many times, and we expect to have an application be submitted in June. Other referrals are on the are in my report, so I don't need to go through all of those unless you have any questions, and move on.
Okay. All right, so moving on, we will move to item 3C, credit program update by Jerry Taverdi.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just going to give you a brief report on the conservation easement program. recent activities. So since January this year, we issued 24 letters of interpretation, 5 in the town of Brookhaven, 2 in the town of Riverhead, and 17 in the town of Southampton. 8 conservation easements are in the process currently, and one of them, Equine Facility LLC. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. 22 parcels were inspected, and 25 conservation easement signs were installed. Also, we added 4 parcels to the program this year, which generated 0.58 credits. 44 credits have been redeemed, most of them in the town of Brookhaven for the residential project. Excuse me. 7 credits have been sold with the average price of 85,000. The average price in the town of Riverhead a little bit lower, 60,000 per credit, and in the town of Southampton it is 93,000. The clearinghouse still owns 10.19 credits, and we're going to discuss that later in an executive session, because we have received a few inquiries recently about potentially purchasing those credits. In terms of financial report, the clearinghouse still owns 2.5 million. And the interest build up for the 4 months this year was $838. That's all I have. If you have any questions.
Okay, thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item 3D, Kogel Core hardship, develop a single-family residence on 5 acres on East Bartlett Road in Middle Island. Request to withdraw their hardship application. Julie?
Thank you. Yes, we received a letter from the attorney Eugene DiNicola. I'm sorry, it was Andrea DiNicola, his daughter. She was representing Kogel Brothers, and this is to withdraw this application. So I think we just need a formal motion to.
Make a motion to withdraw this application.
Thank you.
And a second,
Second.
Thank you.
any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Dan, or I think Supervisor Aguiar has joined us as well. Can Riverhead indicate their vote?
Yes, Riverhead approves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion passed 4-0. Moving on to item.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Moving on to item 3E, Eversource Sunrise Wind Offshore Wind Farm with onshore cable in the town of Brookhaven. Requests party status in New York State PSC Article 7 application. Julie?
Thank you. So this item is on, just to give you a little background and also to introduce the project to you and inform you that we've been notified, like I said before, that this will be, this applicant will be submitting a core hardship application next month for your consideration. This is a project that's the development of an offshore wind farm, as you may know, and the onshore portion is involves the installation of a cable in the town of Brookhaven, and the cable route is in the compatible growth area and in the core preservation area, and also in areas outside of the Pine Barrens altogether. The proposal is currently at the New York State Public Service Commission for an Article 7 application, which is the certification review process for major electric and gas transmission facilities. The applicant, again, has contacted this office and they plan to submit an application next month. They had originally some questions on owners' consents and authorizations. They need town of Brookhaven, for example, they need a town of Brookhaven approval or a review and approval authorization to develop a paper street in the compatible growth area. They also need New York State DOT approval to do work in a recharge basin on the southwest side of William Floyd Parkway and Sunrise Highway, and also to do work in the road shoulder of that highway, which will involve some clearing. And they're also seeking some alienation of parkland in South Haven County Park. So they're working with the county on that item as well. So we would like to continue to be involved in the Article 7 process, and that means that we would like to have the commission request this party status, which will keep the commission involved in the process and be able to provide comments. That doesn't preclude the applicant's requirement to still come to you if that's, they have decided that they need to submit a core hardship for some development in the core. So that will still continue, but this will allow the commission to be involved in that process at the state level. So we would be seeking your authorization to send that brief letter just to become a party, become a sort of a stakeholder in their review process.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about, I think the applicant is Derek Berg. He's been the one who's contacted this office. He's the manager of this project, Sunrise Wind, Eversource. And I included in the package a map of the route. I can show you that a little more here on the screen if you can all see it. I don't know. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
This shows you that the offshore portion, obviously in the ocean, and coming in around Smith Point and crossing through the bay, directionally drilling through the bay, and then up William Floyd Parkway. And then on the west side, this doesn't show you the Pine Barrens coverage, but on the west side of William Floyd Parkway, south of Sunrise, there will be a portion that goes through the compatible growth area. And then they directionally drill under the railroad tracks and then under Sunrise Highway and come up on the northwest side of William Floyd Parkway in the Victory Avenue area, North Service Road of Sunrise Highway, and travel west. And then it's this portion of, show you another, the closer map, this part that's, oh, I'm sorry. Let me see, that's not that one. Let me see, I'm sorry. Show you the portion where it crosses William Floyd. I'm sorry, where it crosses Sunrise Highway. And then it goes, it's on the southern portion of South Haven County Park. I don't have that map right now, but it was in the package, and we'll be getting more details on the amount of clearing. I think it will be about 1/2 acre of clearing and development in the southern portion of South Haven County Park. And that's, and also there are wetlands very close to or in that area. So there may be some disturbance to wetlands. Again, we don't have the application yet, but we'll have all of those details when we get it. And so that's hence the reason for the core hardship.
So today we're looking for a motion to approve sending a letter requesting party status to the Public Service Commission. Can I get a motion from one of the members?
Thank you.
A second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, Riverhead,
Riverhead approves. Thank you.
thank you. Motion passes, vote 4-0. Okay, the next item on the agenda is item 3F, Town of Southampton Zoning Board of Appeals referral, Hampton West Park, 700 Stewart Avenue, West Hampton. Construct 6 60-foot tall light poles on ball fields for nighttime lighting. It's a draft response. Julie?
Thank you. Okay. So in the package was a draft summary of the project to provide some background on this proposal. This was a referral from the Zoning Board of Appeals for nighttime lighting at this town park, Hampton West Park on Stewart Avenue in West Hampton. It's partially bordered by a residential community and also the dwarf pine plains. It's in the core preservation area. The ball fields predate the Pine Barrens Act, but this is a proposal to increase the use of that park in the nighttime from the spring through the fall periods where it gets darker earlier or dark earlier. And this would allow some extended play until they've explained till 10 p.m. So this is for the construction of 6 60-foot tall light poles for the nighttime lighting. And the East End Little League has made this request to the town. So again, the memo in the package, we wanted to go over some of those items that might be that we saw as important, some potential environmental impacts related to nighttime lighting on the wildlife habitat and this habitat of the globally rare dwarf pine plains where this site is located. Again, the ball fields predate the act, but the site is really in the core preservation area and surrounded by thousands of acres of this rare ecosystem. So there could potentially be impacts where the application did not address environmental impacts, but there could be impacts on the flora and fauna in that area, rare insects and breeding periods of birds and insects that inhabit that community. So and their behavior and influencing their behavior and physiology. So that is well documented nighttime lighting impacts on wildlife. So we have provided some comments and asked if potentially there's alternatives, maybe there's some alternative lighting, or if alternatives to shut the lighting off earlier. So we wanted to get your thoughts on that, and authorization also to send a letter to the town, at least outlining some of the potential impacts of this proposal.
Okay. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
We need a motion to approve whether the commission would like to send a response to the referral letter.
We actually have a copy of that draft letter because at this point in time, I'm only seeing a memorandum dated May 26.
That's right. A memorandum was prepared, and if we could either stay with that memorandum, or if you want to have, that is, correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, was the memorandum to the commission members?
Yes, it was to the members from
Okay.
us to outline the project, provide comments. We do briefly address whether this is development or non-development, if it's consistent with the goals and objectives of the act. And it is a recreational activity. There is a provision on recreation if it is consistent with the purposes of the act. So all of those items are addressed here.
At this point, I guess it's up to the commission members, what they desire, whether they would like to send a letter in response to the referral that the staff has received from the ZBA that
So,
addresses the concerns that were contained in the memo.
in response to that, I would certainly offer that it's most beneficial for the commission staff to respond to the referral of the zoning board of appeals to make the ZBA aware of the sensitivity of the site potential for wildlife impacts. I would also offer that it might be helpful to recommend potential remediation measures that could reduce the effects of light pollution on sensitive wildlife species such as the coastal barrens, buckmoth, the whippoorwill, just to name a couple. Some of the potential remedial measures could include lessening the hours in which the lights are utilized at the park, as well as shortening the season in terms of lighting. With regards to the coastal barrens buckmoth, as the commission members know, the moth emerges in mid-October. It's a daylight flyer, and it breeds for about 2 weeks. Currently, it's my understanding that the request to the ZBA has indicated that the lighting would be extended through the month of October. So it might be beneficial for the commission staff to ask that the ZBA give consideration to lessening the duration of lighting, both on a daily basis and seasonal. You know, they haven't actually, neither the Little League nor the town have made a direct inquiry to the commission in order to seek a determination as to whether or not this constitutes development or non-development. So I'm not sure this is the appropriate time to respond to that. The commission has a history of looking at a wide range of recreational improvements at many properties. Those improvements vary in intensity of use, such that some have been deemed non-development and some deemed development. So I guess this is a question for Mr. Milazzo, as we are simply looking at an advisory referral from the commission, from the CBA at this time, is there a need and/or is it appropriate at this time for the commission to speak as to whether or not this activity would be deemed development or non-development pursuant to the act? Or is it preferable at this time that the commission staff simply advise the CBA of the environmental impacts and, as indicated, perhaps make some recommendations in terms of how those impacts could be minimized?
John, before you speak, I just want to acknowledge the fact that Janice Shearer has her hand raised.
Yep,
So let's.
Hi, can you hear me?
yes.
Can you? Oh,
Yes.
hi. And thanks. And thank you, Marty, too. This is Janice Shearer, Town Planning and Development Administrator. I think the ZBA referral is a good time to respond. And then, obviously we let the other commissioners take the lead in determining whether or not you think this is development or clearly, there's some potential to see this as recreation, as it has been in other places. And I did ask quickly to see if that, the lighting could be lowered in height. And then if they did that, though, it wouldn't comply with other requirements that we have in terms of light trespass. So I just wanted to sort of make that known that they did look into, as you get lower, I guess they were going to have to put more. So there's only 6 poles being requested. And I think the hope, at least from the town parks director perspective, is that the commission would consider this to be recreation. Thank you.
John?
Okay, I guess the question is, can the commission send the essentially repackage the memo that was prepared by Julie Hargrave and send it to the town? And of course they can, right? That would be provide guidance to the town. It wouldn't address the issue of whether this is development or non-development. And it may be instructive to the town and may give the town some guidance on how to perhaps rearrange this project. The question of whether it's development or non-development necessarily entails, legal counsel, which we would prefer to do in a closed session. It's your privilege that if you wanted to waive it, of course we can, but I prefer to give my legal opinions in closed session just to protect the attorney-client privilege. So, but of course you can send that memo, and I think we have need for an executive session later on. So if we want to have a closed advisory session on this piece of the agenda, we could do that, and then we could come back out and address it accordingly.
The closed advisory session. What? You have the number for the closed advisory session.
I don't, but I'll get it.
Okay. So would we move forward then, John, with, should we be asking for a motion to send to the town a referral response to the ZBA?
I would probably suggest if it's the will of the commission to go and discuss this in a closed session, which I would encourage, we would then come out and based on the council in the session, you can then take your next step to issue the memorandum or take some other action.
I would agree that it would be beneficial to discuss the matter in a closed executive advisory session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to the compatible growth area, item 3G, New York State DEC referral, EBDK at Calverton concerning increasing irrigation well capacity to 35 gallons per day for 3 wells, 2 at 15 gallons, 1 at 10 gallons per day for irrigation capacity of 4.6 million gallons per year.
Judy, I think the town of Riverhead had a question or.
Dan, did you want to say something on this?
Yes, thank you very much. Good afternoon, all. Town of Riverhead has an application in motion to table this matter to next month's meeting, so Riverhead can fully vet the various issues regarding this particular matter.
Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to.
Is there a second on the motion?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was there?
Or is it?
No,
I'm sorry,
it was
Judy.
tabled.
You can
So
either-
we have to, I'm sorry. Do we need to make a motion on the table then?
we can-
Right, so Riverhead has made that motion. We look for a second and then a vote on that motion, please.
Thank you.
or you could- Dan, you probably could do it on consent.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, John.
Okay, so are we doing a vote or not then on this? This is just,
Because it was, I'm sorry, Judy, to interrupt, because this was an
That's okay.
informational item So the will of one of the commissioners is to defer action. We probably could do it on consent because there's no timeline for commission action. It's not an application.
All
Dan,
right.
do you prefer a motion or a consent?
Consent would be fine, John. Thank you.
Is it
Okay,
the consent of the commission to allow this to be held off for a month? Seeing no opposition, hearing no opposition, I mark that as consent.
Thank you all.
thank you. All right, item 3H under compatible growth area, the 7-Eleven Middle Island, approval and execution of consent order. This was a violation that occurred last year on 7-Eleven in Middle Island on Middle Country Road. They had previously received a CGA hardship from the commission in 2017. And they were allowed to clear 100% of the property, and they had to revegetate back 35% of the property. And it appears that last year, they were also required to restore the area back to 35%. And last year, they had received complaints on the condition of the property, the restoration area. And in response, they brought in, I guess, a landscaping crew that mowed the area to improve the appearance, which is in violation of the terms of their hardship that they were granted. They are, the commission executed an NOV, and we negotiated terms of a consent order. The owners have signed the consent and order and returned it. One of the conditions of the consent order, the fine is $1,500, of which $1,000 is to be suspended pending fulfilling all the requirements of the consent order, which includes restoring the area, putting in a couple of signs to prevent a similar situation from occurring again. And I would like a motion to approve the execution of the consent order and allowing me to sign on behalf of the commission.
Make that motion.
Riverhead seconds.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The motion passed 4-0. Okay. The next item on the agenda is item 3I under credit program, Equine Facility LLC Conservation Easement, North Street in Manorville, to discuss the terms of the language, the terms and language of the easement. Jerry?
Thank you, Judy. For this item, I would like to share my screen just so that you can see. Do you see that, the aerial?
Oh, yeah.
There's no dumping, you know.
Right.
That's good.
All right, thank you. So this is the parcel, Equine Facility LLC, also known as the Hidden Pond Stables. And it is located just north from exit 69 on LIE on North Street. The total acreage is 34.22. And it is within Horse Farm zoning district. As you can see, most of the parcel is developed with a lot of structures, a lot of paddocks, and the big track in the middle. Original letter of interpretation that was issued back in 1998 allocated 4.48 credits for this parcel. And at that time, only one credit was deducted for the house residents. Back in 2013 and 16, the renewal letter of interpretation was issued, and at that time, the allocation was 0 due to all the improvements, such as the 2 stables, the 2 family residence, the office/storage building, the 4 mobile homes. So they all add up to 2,985 gallons per day in terms of the sewage flow rate. So this allocation was appealed in 2018. And after the hearing, the commission decided to issue a renewed allocation with 4.48 credits. So right now we are in the process of writing an easement. So we can show you also prepared like the table that shows all the structures, and these highlighted numbers corresponds to the structures that were not included in a survey from 2006. I can show you that as well. So right now, it's in the process of, the survey is in the process of updating, and we asking to include all the structures there, and also to have the border delineated from the natural area of the property. Just a few items of concern. The property has a few wetlands areas, and one of them is this pond, and we're proposing to move the fence line at least like 25 feet from the edge of the pond, and create like a natural area, a natural buffer area here. As well here, it's like a small pond, and which lays in a close proximity to the large manure storage piles. So we also proposing to have the fence that will go around it, and will delineate that from the remaining natural area, and prevent it from expanding. Another area is on the east north side, and I can show you the pictures of that, I believe. So this is where the manure spread, and there's still some trees around, but there is no understory. And as far as I understand, the plan is to plant some grass and have it as a grazing area for horses. So we asked also to install the fence around it and prevent it from expanding as well. So going back to the aerial. So we are in the process of writing an easement, and the draft you should have received last Friday. If you have any questions, that's all I have.
Yeah, Jerry, it's Dan. How you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Just a question concerning page 3 and 4, where the asterisks are located. Will there be a final covenant for our review, including that information as well?
Yeah, so they are in the process of preparing the updated survey. So we're going to include that information from the updated survey. And after that, yeah, we can provide you with the final draft, I guess.
Thank you, Jerry.
Sure.
John, is there anything action or anything that they have to take at this point?
Thank you, Judy. Good job, Jerry, for presenting this one. This is, it's an important issue for the commission, and I think it's very similar to what the commission was asked to do in the Tuccio easement in the town of Southampton and West Hampton, which was a similar type of property where it was a developed large parcel where the owner, in that case, it was a Tucci, wanted to retain certain uses. So what we did was we brought to the commission a draft easement that was tailored to allow Mr. Tuccio to retain the uses that he sought. So this easement that's been presented has been tailored to identify the existing uses on this property, which is principally a horse farm, and allow those uses to continue in perpetuity, maybe perpetuity plus a day, so that, and would also in exchange allow the applicant, who is Equine Facility LLC, and I know they're represented by Mr. Peter Barron. I see P. Barron on the screen. Partner in that is Carolyn Jolly, and I also know Armand Egan. I think I saw his name on the screen as well. He may be working with Ms. Jolly and Mr. Barron on this. So what we're seeking to do is have the commission grant conceptual approval and authorize Judy as the interim director to execute the easement if it is in a final form before the next meeting, only because we do not want to unduly restrict or hinder Carolyn Jolly's ability to access the credit program. My understanding is they have a need for these credits, or they have some use for these credits. So we just want to make sure they're able to get these credits in a timely fashion. So the easement, the way it works is we identify the property. Dan, thank you for identifying that there were some asterisks in there. Mr. Barron informed me this morning that there's a survey being prepared. Each of the spots that are sort of starred will have a reference to the survey. And the covenants on page 3 and the reserve rights on page 4 are the most important for the commission's consideration. I know you've received it, so I won't bore you with what it says, but in essence and distilled down, the covenants are the promises they make of what they can and cannot do. And the reserve rights are, these are the things they can do. So the covenants are, they won't subdivide the property, they won't change the use, they won't build new facilities without coming back to the commission. The reserve rights are they can continue to use the property as a horse farm without further review from the commission. They can use the property consistent with town code without review from the commission. So this easement is tailored to allowing a use, an ongoing use, to continue. And again, the reason it's brought to you is we do not typically bring easements to you, but typically we are dealing with a small lot in the middle of the Central Pine Barrens without road access, without development, without any active use besides passive recreational uses. So that's pretty much our standard cookie cutter easement. We wanted your review and consent and approval in the form of a resolution to move forward with this. Having said all of that, let me be crystal clear and let there be no confusion. If the commission working, and we've worked well with Mr. Barron on this one to date, is unable to reach agreement on a term, even this yesterday, they asked for some minor tweaking, we will bring it back to you because we need your guidance on something, because ultimately it's your job to protect the resources. We're just your staff. So if Mr. Barron and I are unable to work out language that staff doesn't feel is protective enough and strays too far from our mission, we will not proceed. We will bring it back to the commission for guidance at the next meeting. To date, we haven't had that problem, but that does not mean that tomorrow we won't be able to keep moving forward. Momentum has been on our side on this one. And Mr. Barron and Ms. Jolly have been very accommodating. They're ordering a survey. So I anticipate having a good working relationship. But if there's a problem that arises, of course, we'll just defer and we'll bring it back to the commission because that's our job. And also it may turn out that you see this again next month because Mr. Barron informed me today it'll be 2 weeks for the survey. We have Memorial Day, the summer starts, surveyors are all backed up. It may turn out that the commission meeting is right when the survey is turned in. So at that point, if it's an extra day, you may just see it just because there's no reason not to. But assuming everything goes well, we wouldn't bring this back to you unless there's some specific concerns in the text that we provided to date. And I encourage Mr. Barron or Ms. Jolly or Mr. Egan. I know Mr. Barron, I'm going through you as their attorney. If anyone wants to address the commission, please do so now. Otherwise, we'll just provide this to the commission for a resolution authorizing Judy to execute an easement provided staff approves of the terms and a mutually acceptable agreement can be reached with the applicant before the next meeting. Short of that agreement, we will bring it back.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And Mr. Barron, if you have any comments, just, there we go. I see you're unmuted. Raise your hand, do whatever they have to do with the Zoom.
I think you laid it out, and I'm in line with you. We're going to do our best to get this easement in proper shape before the next meeting. So I concur with everything you've said.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the resolution, Judy, would be sort of unique. It would be to authorize the execution of an easement with equine facility, subject to staff and council's approval, subject to acceptable title. Subject to an acceptable title means that the title exceptions have been revised and omitted to the commission's satisfaction, subject to having a mortgage or 2 or 3 consent and non-disturbance agreements executed, and agreement on the terms that work with both the applicant and the commission staff.
Riverhead so moves for an application and resolution as recited by John with respect to those terms and conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Romaine. All in favor, please raise your hand.
That approves.
Thank
That
you.
approves.
Motion passes 4-0 vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Barron, Ms. Jolly, and Mr. Egan for attending today.
Okay, item 3J under credit program, Genesis Investors LLC, letter of interpretation for Suffolk County tax number 900-277-4-3. There's a parcel size discrepancy in the tax bill and the tax map that could potentially affect the credit allocation. John, excuse me, Jerry.
Thank you, Judy. I'd like to share this screen as well. So this is for letter of interpretation that we have received recently, the application for tax map number 900-277-43. The parcel is owned by Genesis Investors LLC and Peter Barron. It is within CR 200 zoning district, and it is located just south of Sunrise Highway between exits 62 and 63. So let me see. Enlarge that. So if you look at the tax map book, the size would be 100 feet by 250, which is 0.57 acres. And we also have the old filed map survey from 1910. And that describes the lots from the block 52 as per a legal description. So the property consists of lots from 17 to 26, and each lot is 100 feet by 25 feet. So in total, it's 100 by 250, which is 0.57. But per tax bill, the size of the parcel is 1.74. So this is a discrepancy, and usually we use the tax bill to determine the size, unless the survey is provided. For one option, if we use the smaller acreage, the property would receive 0.12 credits. And if we use the tax bill acreage, the final allocation would be 0.35. So basically there are two options. It's either use the old filed map acreage, or another option is to use the tax bill. So that's the question that we have that needs to be resolved. Thank you. If you have any questions.
Can I say something? Like, from a real estate perspective, the old filed maps are, you know what the lots are. They're 25 by 100 or 20 by 100. It's determined. Unless it's a described lot with meets and bounds, you know, then might be different. But on an old filed map, it is what it is. So obviously the tax bill calculation is not correct.
John, did you want to add anything?
No, if Ms. Longo is correct, she is. The applicant owns the smaller of the amounts, and there's an issue with the tax bill. And if that's the case, they should be allocated credits based on what they own.
So should we move forward, then have one of the members put forward a motion to that effect?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to allocate credits based on the survey rather than the tax bill.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Riverhead second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Riverhead approves.
Thank you. The motion passed 4-0. Okay. The next item is item 3K, Sound Capital LLC, request to purchase 9.65 Pine Barren credits from the commission for a PDD in the town of Brookhaven. Jerry?
Thank you, Judy. So we have received a letter with the request to purchase the credits that are owned by the clearinghouse. So I believe that question can be discussed in the executive session. But
Okay, thank you, Jerry. So let me just give you a little background on so we have an I'm sorry. So there was a letter which was distributed to the commission members from Mr. Lee Rosner, who I see is on the Zoom. Hello, Mr. Rosner. He was inquiring as to whether the commission would be considering of selling the credits that it owns. So that's a policy question. Wrapped inside the policy question necessarily is a valuation question on how much a credit should be sold for if they are to be offered for sale through a bidding process, of course. And a conversation about a asset's value is a conversation that can be properly occur in an executive session only because it can affect the asset's value and it affect other assets, similarly situated assets, because the credits are fungible. And that's why Mr. Terverdi indicated we could do this in executive session. I think, Judy, maybe you want to frame the issue a little bit further, just so that everyone's aware of what we're talking about without going into the specifics of valuation.
Okay. Mr. Rosner actually reached out to me through email and by phone to explain that he had a project located in the town of Brookhaven, in Mount Sinai, a PDD, and he was interested in purchasing 9.65 credits, and he was having difficulty acquiring the number of credits he needed to satisfy the requirement from the town. And the question came up about the credits that the clearinghouse or commission currently owns 10.198 credits. And Mr. Rosner was interested in expressed an interest potentially of purchasing 9.65 credits. He found a lot of difficulty in trying to assemble the credits. Looking at, he didn't specify exactly the nature of his attempt in reaching out to folks on the registry and trying to assemble the credits, other than he had tried to acquire credits from two credit holders that have a large credit holdings, and he was not able to really at this point acquire the credits he needed to satisfy the town, and that is why he was looking at the credits that the commission is currently holding. So it also brings into, what does the commission want to do in terms of these credits that they continue to hold? And I guess anything further probably would be discussed in executive session.
Hi, Judy, this is Andy Freeling. Can I ask you a question? How many credits does the project need in total? Do you know?
Mr. Rosner is on the phone, but his letter was saying he was looking to acquire 9.65 credits.
Right. I'm just curious if that's all the credits he needs or if that's a fraction of the credits he needs for the approval.
Mr. Rosner, would you like to respond to that?
Hi, everybody. Lee Rosner here. Mr. Freeling, we require 9.65 credits for this one project that's shovel ready in Mount Sinai, and we would be prepared to acquire the 10.18 credits that the clearinghouse holds.
I think it's 10.19.
10.19. And just a point of clarification, we're our project is essentially shovel ready, and we would look to acquire the credits and redeem them in the immediate future.
9.6 credits, and that would leave you 1 and change left over, right?
Little
I'm
less,
sorry,
actually.
Less than, right? Less than
Yeah,
1.
fractional.
Right.
Which is fine, but that would be okay with us. And just one other thing, our attempts to acquire credits from the registry list We made extensive efforts, and the one I guess holder of credits that seems to have the volume of credits that we need. The pricing is just way off of the fair market value number, and so it's just not economically feasible for us to acquire them from that source. That's why we're looking to the clearinghouse to offer those.
I would just like to ask, Lee, thank you.
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt you. I got a bad connection. What was my question? I lost my train of thought. I'll get back to you.
Well, maybe your question might have been, Andrew, because Mr. Rosner alluded to fair market value. You might want more specifics as to what Mr. Rosner assesses as fair market value.
My question was, while you've testified, for want of a better term, that you've made efforts to secure credits other than the credit clearinghouse, and you've had difficulty in that, is there any way that you can demonstrate those actions? Any correspondence you have? Any way that you can solidify for the commission that you have made attempts and you have been rejected?
I'm sure that I can. Quite honestly, most of the efforts have been via telephone. So I don't have written documentation, but I could go about working to that end. Wouldn't be that difficult. I mean, quite honestly, the availability of credits in that size range are just slim to none. I mean, we really only found one source.
You purchased them in one lump sum.
Correct. And even buying up from multiple holders is we didn't find any path to that end either. It's just extremely slim pickings at this point.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Rosner, Dan McCormick, Town of Riverhead. How you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Good. May I ask you, sir, what exactly were you receiving as the amount of the quotes to sell these credits to you?
The one source, $135,000 a credit.
And that would have covered all 9.65 that you were looking for?
Yes.
Okay. And so I presume you would have inquired as to those parties that the current rates, as you can see from the registry, right, are below that amount. I'm just curious, what was the response when you asked those folks as to why they were offering at such an inflated amount?
And if I were, I don't want to paraphrase my my conversation and get it wrong, but essentially it went along the lines of, that I'm paraphrasing this holder, and he said that he's owned the credits for a long time, and that he is this is the number that he's looking for, and and there's really and there's no other place to go for the credits. So that was the stance. I'm the last last source, and I'm looking for my pound of flesh. So it puts us in a difficult position. I mean, it's holding up a major project.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Rosner. Jerry, can you tell me, with regard to the registry, there are other folks selling those credits, right? Especially in Brookhaven, correct?
Right. There is multiple owners of the credits in the town of Brookhaven. But I guess the majority of the credits, they are owned by just two parties. The one is Pluralis LLC, another is IVR. But Yeah, there's multiple owners of the credits still in the town of Brookhaven.
Right, are there multiple owners of the credits that would aggregate to 9.65 regarding other sources? So for example, 9 separate owners of 1 credit each, are those types of folks listed on the registry as well?
You mean the owner that has at least 9 credits?
No, owners that may only have a single credit to offer, but you could find 9 or more owners on the registry in which you could buy them separately from 9 different owners or multiple combinations of that would equate to 9.65.
Right, that's those credits are available right on the registry. That's correct.
Okay, so Mr. Rosner, have you inquired of those additional sources as to whether or not those folks would be willing to sell you those credits, even if you had to contract with 9 different individuals?
Well, it would be many more than 9 individuals. I mean, the credits that that are available are largely fractional. If you look at the registry, I mean, there are very few credits that are listed that are 1 credit or more, and that's the problem we ran into. I mean, I'd love to just go to the registry and to meet our needs, but it's and the list has I think a total of 66 credits available in the town of Brookhaven, but they're not all available. That's the problem. So.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Rosner. Jerry, would you concur in that opinion that there are only fractional avenues of availability over and above those bulk sellers that Mr. Rosner referred to before?
Well, there's different numbers, and some of them there is like 3 credits, 5 credits, 4 credits, and I think the total number of credits available in town of Brookhaven is 155.
Right. Mr. Rosner is representing that he's having difficulty finding alternative sources because he's saying that there are only fractional interest available that would make aggregating these difficult. Are you saying, though, that there are people that are selling, for example, 3 credits, others maybe 2 credits, others maybe 4 credits? Are those folks available as additional sources?
Well, you would have to contact them and to make sure that those credits are available for sale. But they are on the registry list, and that contact information is there. And also, we haven't also the precedence of using the credits from another town, right? For if the 2 towns give their permission, the credits from another town can be used as well.
Jerry, but in this case, stipulated that they have to be Brookhaven credits.
Oh, okay.
Which you may not have been aware of, but that is a requirement. And usually the between towns happens at the county level for sewage flow more than I think. It may have happened for density, but mostly intensity type of use. But for the way it is for the town of Brookhaven in particular, for these provisions, I think that are within their code, it has to be Brookhaven credits.
Right.
Yeah, so that argument, I guess, can be made that there is a lot of credits that are available. They are kind of like fractional, and
I'll make an argument, Jerry.
No, I mean,
let's put it this way: the credit registry is available. The numbers are on the credit. The numbers of credits are listed on the registry along with the contact information, and some of them may be less than 1 and some of them may be more than 1. individuals are selling. But it will be specified on the registry.
I think that's a matter of fact. I think that's easy to verify. I think the problem I'm having, and maybe Dan is having, is that while certainly not making any accusations or anything like that on Mr. Rosner, but I think hearsay or his testimony, unsworn testimony that he's having difficulty is difficult for our record. I think that we would need proof. There were attempts made and attempts rebuked. And then I think that would help us in our deliberation. But just because there are credits out there and because somebody says is having difficulty, that provides me with no assurance that really there is a problem getting credits. So I would just like to see something, something in that paper trail, a request, a rejection, or some way to verify that there is difficulty in getting credits. That's my concern.
Lee Rosner here again. I'd be happy to make a second effort going through the registry one by one and documenting my findings. I'll get to work on that this week.
Well, I would appreciate that.
So final question that I did pose a little earlier, Mr. Rosner, because it obviously contextualizes the practicability of your efforts. And that is, you use the phrase fair market value, and you did not assign a number, an amount to that. Would you care to share what you think that is?
At $85,000 to $90,000 per credit range.
Very good, thank you.
So I guess at this point, unless there's any other questions from the other commission members, we will hold further discussion to executive session.
I suppose I could ask one more question.
Sure.
In our analysis of overlap parcels, were there additional potential credits in the town of Brookhaven that might be available in the future?
Yes, there was a number that just give me 1 second, I'll give you the number.
It's fine. There's some additional credits that could be realized, but what we heard Jerry say was there's 150 that have been issued that are on the registry today in certificate form. And Jerry's indicated the registry has, 2s and 3s and 4s and a range from 1/10 of a credit up to a large number of credits. So we could, there could be overlap potentials, but Mr. Rosner sounds like he needs his credits now. And, the registry would be the place for him to start churning that list again. And, but because those are in paper form, that's just a transaction, that's a strike price and we make a deal.
Thank you, John. I think I was going down a different thought process, but thank you.
Yeah, and I apologize. I cut you off.
Nope, no problem.
Andy, if you were asking if there's land left in the core in the town of Brookhaven that hasn't come into the credit program, yes, there is. But getting those people to participate is voluntary, as you know, and we don't have their participation yet. We continue to pursue that, but we have not.
If I could ask Mr. Rosner another question, have you reached out to the town of Brookhaven at all in order to assist you in securing credits for your approval and your project?
I have not.
I just wonder if the town of Brookhaven would be an active player in moving the credits around.
I'll certainly reach out. Can't hurt.
Appreciate that.
Okay, anyone else? Any further comment? Okay, then we'll have further discussion of this item in executive session. that brings us to the public comment portion of the commission meeting. Check here. Looks like we lost a few people. I don't see anything. Is there anyone that has phoned in to attend the meeting that is interested in speaking? And you are unmuted if you, so if you are a phone in, you can take the opportunity to speak at this point. Okay. So that brings us to the end of the agenda, and I would like to have a motion to move into executive session. John, do you think we'll be conducting any business afterwards, or just seek to adjourn?
We have the closed advisory session for the town of Southampton issue,
Okay,
which may result in sending that memo, which we talked about. I don't think there'll be any further action. So I guess there's a potential.
okay, so then we'll have to leave it that. I'll ask for a motion to go into advisory session to receive counsel from Commission Counsel regarding Southampton ZBA referral. Are we also going to be covering anything further about Sound Capital and the credit program?
I don't think you need to at this time because Mr. Rosner indicated he was going to recanvass the list.
Okay,
So what I would charge him with, if I could charge him with anything, is get back to us by next month and we could address it at that time.
okay. Mr. Rosner, are you still on?
He left us. He'll
All right,
reach
I'll
out to
make
you.
sure he's aware, or one of the staff will make sure that he's aware. Okay,
Okay, I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
thank you. Can I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Riverhead approves.
Okay. Motion passes 4-0. And there may be business conducted at this point. Did you all receive the conference call phone-in number?
Yes.
Emily, you need that?
Probably did. Could you just send it to me again? Because, you know, Ed-
Sure, I'll make sure Julie or Angie
Yeah.
sends that out to you.
Thanks.
All right, so we'll speak shortly.
Thank you. Could we just take a 5-minute break?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay.
little late.
It's been a crazy meeting, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Okay, and Marty, was that a vote yes or an abstention?
He's on mute.
You're muted.
Mute. Marty's on mute.
Go like this.
They don't want to unmute Marty.
Marty, wave your hand if you want to abstain.
Let's see if he knows. Oh, he knows how to.
He's
wave.
abstaining.
Marty abstains, so the motion passed. So we have, and Dorian on that motion, is he, he's in favor? Okay, and then Dan, so the motion passed. The vote is 3 with 1 abstention being Town of Southampton. And then finally, we have a motion to adjourn the meeting. Can I have that motion?
Riverhead makes that motion.
Can I have a second, please?
I'll second that motion.
Oh, okay, Marty, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the motion passed 4-0. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of the day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Be safe.
Good holiday.
Bye. Have a great